Hello and welcome to Confidently Wrong, a show by regular dudes talking with confidence about content we have no right to speak about with any kind of authority, but do it anyway. I'm Wesley Nakamura, and as always, I'm joined by award-winning director Brian Redondo and Savon Jones, aka Captain Vonnie. This is episode 111, and we preview which summer movies we think will be hits and which ones will be misses. I'm confident that it's going to be the best show you've ever listened to, and well, hey, if it's not, you can always ask us for a refund.
Incredible!
Hello, gentlemen. Welcome back to Confidently Wrong. It hasn't been that long since I talked to you. We record two shows back to back, and this is our second of two. The Lakers and Knicks are still in the playoffs. We'll see if that's true when
Not
this
for
show
long.
actually gets released. We're hopeful. Me and Brian are hopeful. Savon is preying on both of our downfall. So, that's the energy in the room right now.
He texts us regularly to boo at our teams. Like, why?
Oh yeah, I'm in my hate.
Why would you do that?
I'm in my
What a
hatred
troll.
bag. Oh, I'm all up in this thing. You know, when it was the Cavs series.
You want to swap picks, Savon? Let's swap picks. All right.
Y'all don't even have lakes.
This summer.
And y'all don't even wear
forgot
knickerbockers.
I forgot
Well,
you don't like
in the
inconsistent
2000s,
names.
those big shorts could be knickerbockers, maybe.
That's a pretty terrible commercial with all the big
A
shorts.
pox on all of y'all.
Just because it's replayed 40,000 times per game. So this summer is kind of the Revenge of the Sith box office going on. So the pandemic hit, and we kind of got a string of summers that were actually pretty lightly populated with movies, or at least bigger movies. And I think this is probably the first summer where it's going to actually feel a little bit more back to normal, where we're getting blockbusters every couple of weeks. So let's get right to the juicy stuff. Which one or two movies are you excited for? It could be big movies, could be small movies, but this summer we're gonna have a pretty big slate of movies. I'm not gonna lay them all out. We'll talk about many of them as we go. Savon, what's on your list of things you're kind of jamming for?
Honestly, bro, most of these movies don't look very interesting. If I'm gonna keep it a buck with you.
Okay, all right. So you're not into it?
Like we just saw Guardians, that was good, but like you know my taste in movies. I'm not here to try and watch some. Oh, we're trying to be deep and be all dramatic and all this grounded relationship. This is the story of a sad man who blah, blah, blah. I don't give a damn about none of that. I'm here for just like,
I like those
nah,
movies.
that shit whack. If I want to experience the real world, I could just wake up and live my life. I'm here for escapism. So a lot of this does
Let's
not.
film Savon's life.
God,
I think
no.
that'd make a good
I
movie.
really want to see no, that's not going to be a good movie. But no, I'm looking at the stuff like Fast and Furious.
A lot of wake and bake scenes.
No comment. It would play off more like maybe ironically it would probably look like a sad indie film. Just really long stretches of me just listening to music, looking out a window, all melancholic. Like it wouldn't be the kind of movie I'd want to watch. But I'm gonna be honest, I'm kind of underwhelmed by a lot of what's coming out. You know, there's like a Fast and Furious movie that just turned into iPhones at this point, where you just get a new one every year. We're past Roman numerals, we're in X's and letters now. I don't care about that. You know, that
10. There's 10 of them.
I can't entertain that now.
Does that even include the spin-off ones that they had?
No.
Oh, I don't know. Oh, no, it doesn't.
It
Hobbs
does
and
not.
Shaw.
Oh my
No,
god.
a lot of these
So
movies
they've
just-
had 11.
Yeah, but like, I'm looking at some of this stuff, like The Machine. The only one that's maybe interesting is that Spider-Man movie, Across the Spider-Verse, but like, Transformers Rise of the Beast, that looked dumb.
I'm going to need you to be more excited about Across the Universe, but it's fine.
You know,
Or
I saw the
Spider-Verse.
trailer for Elemental. I'm gonna keep it a buck. It did not, like, it looked visually cool, but I don't know what the story's supposed to be, but it just didn't really, drag me in.
I promise you know exactly what that story's going to be.
It's definitely not
It's Romeo
interesting
and
to me.
Juliet, right?
Like,
Yeah.
there's that movie The Blackening coming out, which looks really fun. I'm not about to go to the theater to watch that. Or I gotta find like a very specific group of black friends to go watch that movie with. But a lot of this stuff just ain't doing it for me. You know, Indiana Jones, I don't care about Indiana Jones. Insidious, I'm not into horror films. A lot of this stuff is just Mission Impossible. I don't care about Tom Cruise related stuff. Those movies feel very just contrived for no reason and almost self-indulgent. I really just want to see. I do want to see Barbie. I will say that. Like, I want to see the Barbie movie.
Whoa, really?
Hell yeah.
Interesting.
it looks so. Cause it looks it's clear that it's just gonna be a parody of itself, and that alone is gonna be interesting enough to draw me in. So like it's Barbie, Spider-Man, and maybe The Blackening, but this summer list of just things coming out, I can't lie to y'all and pretend that I'm super engaged or invested. That Little Mermaid movie looked boring. Like I'm just looking through the list of stuff, and I'm like, dude, I wouldn't want to spend money on none of this.
To be honest
You're
with
wrong.
you, I agree on this general point that you're making, that like, summer blockbusters, we used to get, at least I remember getting really excited and amped up for what was going to come out, and new stuff coming out. Now everything that gets churned out from Hollywood is just a rehash of some other IP that we thought we were done with. Like, not like Mission Impossible could have Roman numerals coming after it pretty soon. Transformers, same thing. Ninja Turtles, same thing. Like, another Indiana Jones movie, wasn't the fourth one terrible? Like, and isn't Harrison Ford like 1 foot in the grave? Like, why are we doing this? Why is there a Barbie movie?
He's any day now old. At least the Barbie's like a new concept at the very least. Like, okay, the Barbie movie feels like it's gonna be something new at least. But I don't mind sequels or rehashes either, Brian. But I feel like now we're getting to a point where some of these series are older than me, and I'm almost 30, and that's the point where
Star Wars.
That's the point where I'm like, all right, like, I don't mind sequels, but I need some sequels at least to some recent IPs. But like, Wes, I saw you put in the comments, Tom Cruise is almost 60. Why are we still getting Tom Cruise action movies? Like, we don't need this shit no more. They got young. Where's the next generation of young action stars? Like, give me some new blood. I'd rather them reboot the Fast series with a new actor than just what they doing right now. Some of it is just, I just need something new.
Even stuff like Barbie, to me, is like, okay, they're just taking some nostalgia bait that people remember and creating an entire movie around it, which is kind of how I felt about Super Mario, which is also how I feel about the movie Air. We're just like taking...
Did you watch it?
I did watch it. It's actually kind of It's kind of enjoyable, but like, we didn't really need this movie to work as essentially a commercial for Nike Air Jordan. Like,
that shit.
These kind of things these things feel all sorts of silly, and it just makes you crave for originality, which is why the thing that I'm looking forward to the most, of course, is the Christopher Nolan tentpole blockbuster.
I knew you were going to be into
this.
Mr. Reliable. Yeah, he's coming in with Oppenheimer, and even just like the 20-second teaser that we've seen of a giant explosion and Cillian Murphy walking around in a bowler hat. Like, I cannot wait for another Christopher Nolan movie. Even the ones that he misses, like Tenet, which wasn't the best Christopher Nolan movie, still miles better than everything else that we've seen in years, right? Just because it was wholly original, is so cool, very inventive, and made you an active, like, engaged. You have to be an active thinker. You have to be actively engaged in the movie as it's happening. And that, I think that is a great feeling. So I can't wait for Oppenheimer. And actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I might have to do a highbrow High Brian segment just on Christopher Nolan for you folks, because like, thank goodness this guy exists, like a guy that is making original blockbusters. So look out for that one. I'm gonna go see that one on IMAX. Like, not gonna lie, I'm buying tickets ahead of time for Oppenheimer. So that right. I'm
Mark
looking
our
forward
calendars.
to that.
What day does it come out, Brian?
I don't
Let's
know,
have
July
people mark
something.
their calendars.
We'll figure out. Google it.
I'm gonna say
so
it. I like
Oppenheimer, and of course we gotta say into the Spideyverse Part 2. I'm a little concerned that it's gonna be bloated and not be able to live up to its predecessor, but I'm gonna give them the benefit of the doubt. Like, that Into the Spideyverse 1 was just like one of the best, if not the best, comic book movie that I've ever seen. So the sequel, I'm here for it.
I am 100% super excited for Across the Spider-Verse. they've had quite a bit of time. That I think it came out in 2016, 2015, something like that. It's been a while since that movie came out, so they've had a number of years to really get the story right, put it together, figure out where they want to go with that, and I'm excited. I think, like you said, benefit of the doubt, but more than that, I think I'm optimistic that they're going to put together a really, really good movie. So that's the one I think they have to make up for the lack of novelty, right? We got a whole bunch of novelty in the first one with the visuals and the kind of the style. And in this one, they're going to have to do more than that because the style is going to be something we've seen before. And so how do you top that with a good story with more heart, with more connection and a great conflict and resolution? So, but I think they're going to pull it off. I think you're wrong about Barbie. I think that one's going to be garbage times 1,000. Well, we'll see. I'm a little bit, not gonna lie, a little bit excited for Transformers: Rise of the Beast.
It looked decent relative to other Transformer trailers that I've seen.
Yeah, and Elemental, I think it's actually going to be really cool. I think we'll talk about that. All right,
some good guys.
Yeah, I don't know. Like your opening, I was like, oh, I disagree with that. I think you're wrong about that. We'll see. This is why we're making the picks now ahead of time. Only time will tell once we actually get to see the movie or hear what our friends had to say about the movies we didn't get to see. So we're gonna do this a little bit like awards style. So we're gonna give out some pre-awards. So last year we had an underrated movie. It didn't get a lot of attention. I don't think everybody saw it, but it was pretty well liked by those who saw it. We all three of us liked it, and it was Pixar's Buzz Lightyear. It's basically the She's All That of movies. You know, we recognize
y'all did see
the
Lightyear?
inner beauty ahead of time.
I finally saw it. Yeah,
Dude, it's a good movie, right?
It's amazing.
Dude, thank you. Dude, I'm so... People were really...
I don't know about amazing.
It really is.
But Lightyear was a good movie, dude.
It's one of the better like space adventure sci-fi-ish movies I've seen in a while.
The whole time dilation thing. I'm sorry, the time dilation intro was one of the best sequences. It was so early in the movie, I was crying at that shit, bro.
And then the teleportation buttons that they kept putting on all the robots and like that whole bit that they did. Oh,
I'm with you, dude. I thought Lightyear was a great movie.
Great. Anyway.
I feel like your sound has changed, Savon.
But hardly seen.
Has it?
Yeah, it wasn't. Oh, that's better. Also, your chair is very loud. Okay, so I think if I'm going to call my shot on this one, I think it's going to be Indiana Jones. It has the potential to be completely terrible because they're going back to this well that should not be... What's the word for when you take things out of the well? Yeah, the well is dry. But what's the verb for taking water out of the well? Is it welling? Is it drawing water? Maybe it's drawing water. I don't know, whatever, it doesn't matter. But
Pumping?
I think that it could be like, hey, they're trying too hard to just cash in on Harrison Ford as a name that people know, because he hasn't really been wonderful in movies. Although his role in Shrinking is pretty good as a supporting character. Anyways, but here's my thing is that I have a small amount, 10% of optimism here because it's directed by Paul Mangold. And Paul Mangold directed Logan and Ford versus Ferrari. And in both of those, I think he got a lot out of this idea of like aging and your abilities and like how that's all going to work together. And so I think, and the trailers look decent to me, that there's a chance they could redeem themselves here with the Indiana Jones movie that isn't starring Shia LaBeouf. So we'll see. That's what I think. Brian, do you have one you think that's going to be kind of an underrated movie this year? Maybe not seen by a lot of people?
Well, I think Indiana Jones is going to get seen by a ton of people.
You think so?
Yeah, because
I think people are tired of it because
Indiana
they're
Jones,
having the reaction we're all having
Ford.
right now, which is like,
I think there's a lot of older people than us who are actually going to go out and see it, like my mom.
Right. Yeah, okay.
My dad
but I don't think
would
anybody our age
that.
is going to go see it.
So I don't think it's going to be under the radar like Lightyear.
Okay.
I mean, and Lightyear was one of those movies that you thought would be, or at least I thought would garner a lot of attention, and people just like didn't go and see it. And I
do you know anybody that saw the last Indiana Jones?
I saw it.
I don't.
I remember seeing it with a packed theater and stuff too.
Really?
Yeah.
No, I don't.
But it just wasn't a good movie, so it wasn't memorable. I think so. Lightyear is a good example, and I think that might actually happen again with Pixar's summer entry this year with Elemental. That
Okay.
a lot of people are going to be like, kind of like have Savon's, impression of it. It's like, okay, it's like a flame and a water droplet, like, and Pixar's always just putting emotions on inanimate things, and they're doing it again, and I have a feeling audiences are going to be like, whatever, and it's going to get overlooked because like these other big sequels are coming out, and people are going to go see those, and it's going to turn out that Elemental is a pretty damn decent movie, but like not make a lot of noise in the same way that recent Pixar movies have been doing, right? Like,
All right.
I
So
feel
Pixar
like
for Pixar here.
Soul like kind of just went away real quickly and things like that. So yeah, we'll see.
I think I got high hopes for Elemental. I think it's very much not going to be a new story. It's very much like I haven't seen this, but West Side Story. It's Romeo and Juliet. It's all these movies where like the lovers can't actually be together. It's sort of a forbidden love. Dirty Dancing, right? And where their love somehow brings the world a better place, and they solve all the world's problems and togetherness. And
But
break
these
down the
lovers can't
barriers.
touch each other.
But I don't know. I thought the trailer was cute. They showed the trailer before Guardians. So I will definitely be on the lookout for this. I don't know if I'm going to go see it in theaters, but I will. Once it appears on Disney Plus, I am for sure going to boot that up and watch it. All right. Savon, you got one?
Yeah.
It's okay if you don't. We don't have to award everyone.
Well, the one I think will be like a sleeper hit.
I don't think it's a hit, though. I think it's that it's maybe underrated. Maybe not everybody got to see it, but maybe they should have.
I think it'll actually
like
so I
Lightyear.
looked through some of that list of stuff again. I think it'll actually be the clone Tyrone. I had to look at like the premise of that movie again. I actually have a soft spot for like the really. I have a soft spot for blaxploitation parody movies. So Brian, you might be familiar with the movie Black Dynamite. Are you familiar with it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like Black
Yeah.
Dynamite is one of my favorite movies of all time because it's such an amazing parody of that genre, and it's a modern parody. If this movie can be, and I like the cast, so if the Clone Tyrone can be what it's meant to be, is like a sci-fi parody of an old blaxploitation film.
Wait, is that the Eddie Griffin one?
No, that's Undercover Brother you're thinking of. Black Dynamite is with Michael J. White.
I was like,
No, that's with Michael J. White. It's actually even better because it simulated the low budget. Like, if you look at the movie, it came out in like 2010. It looks like a 70s movie, even with just the camera filming equipment style. Brian, you could articulate that better than me. But, yeah, I think Clone Tyrone actually has potential. I think the biggest thing why it'll be underrated sleeper hit is because that some movies are meant to be for a certain audience and tell a certain type of story that the average viewer just might not know that's what they're trying to do. So this movie is going to definitely have references to all these old school 70s blaxploitation movies. But if you don't know to look for that, you're not going to know what makes the movie work and what makes it good. So I think that by design will make it a bit underrated. But I think I'm excited for the movie. John Boyega's in it, Jamie Foxx is in it. Hope he's in good health. I know he's had some stuff happening. But
oh, I didn't know that.
yeah, I think he had a stroke recently. But
What?
Yeah, on set or something. I don't know the details, but like it's not great. But point is, it's a talented cast, and so I feel like, and it's coming out on Netflix, so it's like I don't have to just go to the theaters and buy tickets. I can just watch it at home on a Friday night, which is exactly what I'm going to do.
I like John Boyega. I think he's really improved. I think in the beginning in The Force Awakens, he was maybe overdoing it a little bit too much, but
They set my man up for
think,
failure from the bounce.
I mean that's true too. But I think he's gotten more subtle and certainly more skilled at what he's trying to do. So cool. Let's keep going. So we may have already had our movie that received attention for technical achievement. Avatar kind of takes the cake on underwater and mocap and blah blah, and we heard all about the technical innovations that they had to make for it. Do you think this summer's movies, are any of them going to get kind of an outsized attention for the technical prowess that the crew shows in setting up the movie? This might be called like our Tony Stark Award. Just doing the most with all the technology.
Box of scraps!
Brian, you think there's one on the list this year that fits that bill?
I don't know if this is the right answer for this question, because I was thinking this in terms of like the Top Gun Maverick of last summer.
Yeah, it
right?
kind of was, right? Like they gave us all these behind the scenes on like how they invented new camera systems and how the crew had to do all this stuff, and they really did all these shots in the plane, and there was all this stuff about the making of the movie that was like kind of lived outside of the actual movie itself. So that could work.
So I mean, so like the Top Gun Maverick of this coming summer is of course the Tom Cruise movie Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning Part 1. Only because we know what's going to happen, right? We know that Tom Cruise is going to do some incredibly elaborate, dangerous set pieces that they film practically. And with him doing the stunts. So if you remember the last Mission Impossible, there was a whole skydiving fight scene where the camera went out the plane with them in the skydive. There was another like motorcycle chase through the streets of Paris that Tom Cruise was actually driving said motorcycle. Like these things look amazing. And I can only imagine that they're going to try to outdo themselves again with yet another Mission Impossible movie. And and I think the more that we go into this future or our current state of affairs where things are filmed in studios, tons of CGI, the screen in the background, like how they film Mando and a lot of Star Wars things, right? Like the more we have that, the more this practically shot stuff is going to look just like blow your mind away in the way that Maverick did, I think, with their flight scenes. I'm hopeful that Mission Impossible is going to do the same. I mean, like, I don't know, is like a motorcycle going to jump over a helicopter and they actually do it? Like maybe, like we'll see.
Dude,
Savon's face right now.
Dude, Tom Cruise is that effing friend who, when you decide, let's make some scrambled eggs, rather than go to the store and buy some eggs, he's going to say, let's go to a farm outside the city, get some chickens, get some wire, set up our own farm, wait for those chickens to get a rooster to protect the hens, and then wait for them to lay eggs that he'll then use to make the scrambled eggs. And at a certain point, it's like, we could have just got this from the store. Like,
those are gonna be some damn good eggs.
I'm glad you appreciate. Yeah, it's like one of those. I'm glad you
and
appreciate
the satisfaction of knowing you did.
Yeah, but like, bro, at a certain point, are we getting into just you're being self-indulgent territory over this is actually improving the movie? Like I'm not saying it's not cool, but I feel like Tom Cruise just wants to film himself doing cool stunts and shit, and just movies are just an excuse to do that. Like, bro, you could just be a stunt man, but I guess the pay isn't as good. But like some of this is just like, dude, I'm not saying CGI everything, but like, bro, some of this shit is literally why you have CGI. What's the next step of Tom Cruise building a fully functioning? Next thing you know, Tom Cruise is going to partner with Elon Musk to build an actual space rocket that they use for a practical space battle scene. Like, okay, bro, like this is what CGI is for. This is the friend who, instead of going to the coffee shop, decides, hey, no, let's just start buying our own coffee beans and just make it from scratch ourselves. We'll get some soil from Home Depot or Lowe's. It's like, bro, you're doing a lot. The friend who wants to make their own ice cream instead of getting some damn some Ben and Jerry's, dog.
Yeah, I could do it better.
Yeah, like
it's gonna be fresh.
Yeah, it'll be fresh. I'm like, dog, I don't want to spend 2 weeks making effing ice cream. I just want some rum raisin. I'm mostly giving you a hard time, but I think it'll be funny to see.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna go see Mission Impossible. I haven't seen the past couple in theaters, but it's guaranteed to be a spectacle. I think there's no doubt about that. That's how they want to sell this movie. All right, so let's go to the next award. This is the One and Done Award. Hollywood and audiences, we love our franchises. We love our sequels. They're safe. They're fun. They're nice. They're like big hugs. And the summertime is there's no way to escape that from the summertime. We're getting a ton of sequels, but Hollywood also every now and then they'll give us a movie that's kind of a non-franchise but still a blockbuster. In the older days when we were younger, we got Armageddon, we got Titanic, Forrest Gump. About 10 or 15 years ago, we got Inception. So, these big movies that aren't part of they're not building a universe of any sort here. They're just a good movie, but it's a big movie. Are we gonna get any this summer? Does anything have potential to be that good one and done? That's it movie. I'm gonna vote for Oppenheimer here as my chance at this.
Oh,
I think one, it's a biopic, sort of. One, it's Christopher Nolan, who's done some one and done, like we said, Inception. He's done that. And then this has a World War II tie-in. So it's like a check of, just big movies that are going to be, things that people remember are going to be glorious, and then, people are going to enjoy them. And it's not going to need a sequel.
Wes, who's Oppenheimer, just in case people...
I don't know exactly.
Yeah.
He's like a scientist person who helped with the atomic bomb, and the Manhattan Project. I don't know anything more about him other than he's got a cool name.
So I will say, Christopher Nolan's best movie is Dunkirk. Which is the World War II war epic that happens in 3 different timelines that somehow
very stressful
strand together.
Very stressful.
Incredible movie. So, I want to believe that another World War II movie from Christopher Nolan and Oppenheimer about the atom bomb. I don't know. I feel like. He's gonna deliver.
If I never hear about World War II again, it'll be too soon.
People love them some World War II, man.
Well, as soon as we have World War III, then,
in the movies,
we'll forget about the first one.
Yeah, no one wants to hear about World War I. It's not the latest and greatest.
So the another non-franchise movie that I think is gonna be not a sleeper hit but an actual hit. I think it's gonna be Joyride, which is another stab at the Asian American movie, the non-Crazy Rich Asians Asian American movie. So Joyride it's actually directed by one of the co-writers of Crazy Rich Asians, but she also co-wrote Raya and the Last Dragon, which I love. And then I think she's collaborating with one of the creators from Nora from Queens in this basically what is the next iteration of a Bridesmaids girls trip type movie. So here you have a bunch of Asian American women on a trip to China, I believe, and the trailer just looks hilarious and really raunchy, and kind of the best kind of what's the name? Judd Apatow type humor ish sort of thing going on here. But from a population that maybe not a lot of people expected from. So I think and in a setting which I think will also help generate a lot of yucks coming out of China. So I think it'll be a really fun movie. I think a lot of the early reception has been extremely positive, and it's going to be do pretty well in the summer, and be a little bit in the zeitgeist.
All right, Sav, you got one?
I do not have one.
Okay, next one. This is the Public Speaking Award. It's basically the movie you're not thrilled about. You'd rather skip the whole event than be asked to give a speech or participate in this event. Brian, what is your Public Speaking Award? Who is it going to?
It's definitely The Little Mermaid. Why is Disney remaking all of their classic animated films into live action and making them worse? Does anyone really think live action Aladdin is better than animated Aladdin? Or come on, just re-release the cartoon and put it in theaters. Come on. Well, why are we doing this to ourselves?
Yeah, I feel like they forget. I feel like there's almost people are forgetting that animation has unique advantages that live action doesn't have, and vice versa. And it's okay to respect that those advantages. It's okay to just let those be what they are. Animation lets you do a lot more outlandish, silly things, and sometimes that don't translate to actors. And it doesn't matter what you do with the material, the writing. It just was never written for this format, and you're trying to put,
especially when you have talking animals.
Yeah, they still have talking animals.
Yeah, and it's just
why?
Dude, that never looked good in a live action context. It's why animated, you had so many anthropomorphic cartoons back in the day, and it worked, and it's fine. But this is a classic trying to put a square peg into a round hole deal. Of it's not inherently bad, but y'all trying to make something work that was never gonna work.
Sav, you got
Yeah,
one?
probably Oppenheimer.
Besides the
Yeah,
little
probably
brother?
Oppenheimer. I just
What?
Yeah, I'm gonna keep it a buck.
What?
I'm gonna keep it a buck, bro. Like y'all know me enough to know that I'm like a quote unquote casual movie watcher. I'm not trying to do
Yeah.
all this. Like I don't want to see biopics about some old white dude who built a bomb. That shit sounds boring. That sounds boring as fuck.
But you know Nolan's gonna do it. He's gonna make it interesting.
But I
It's
know,
gonna have,
but I know
like,
it's a taste
time
thing.
things going on.
But I know it's a taste thing because I've seen Christopher Nolan movies and I don't really like his shit that much. Like it's not bad. I want to be clear. It's not bad. I don't want to. I don't want people to come in here saying, "Oh man, Savon thing is bad." I don't think it's bad. I've seen poorly made stuff, but I just feel like, yo, you doing too much right now, and you're doing a lot, and it's just not doing it for me. Like even the Christopher Nolan Batman movies, I feel like have kind of aged a little poorly to me because I feel like, yo, you trying to make a superhero film that don't even feel like a superhero movie. You know, and some of the stuff just feels.
That's what I love about it.
Yeah, but to me, it just feels like it's taking. You know what? It almost feels like it's just taking itself too seriously, and it doesn't feel fun.
Oh, he takes it very seriously.
It doesn't feel fun, and I feel like if I would
like fun
I
movies.
want to have fun. Like when I saw the Batman movie, even like I'll admit the Batman with the Joker, that was a good movie. But like the one after that with Bane, like it wasn't a bad movie. It wasn't a fun movie. You know, I don't know. His stuff isn't bad.
I don't go back and rewatch that one either.
It feels
right.
very. It's almost like the. And I say this is not a compliment. He's almost like the Eminem of movie making in that, like, I get the technical skill and proficiency of what you're doing, but nobody trying to play this in a club. Ain't nobody trying to listen to this shit in the car trying to have fun. Like, I'm not going to the park and say I'm about to listen to some Eminem. You know, I don't invite friends over and say, hey, let's watch Oppenheimer. No, we about to watch some fun shit. We about to watch, I don't know, a comedy. I don't know. I'm at a stage in life where I just enjoy very low stakes or at very least just silly, fun, enjoyable stuff, and none of that looks even remotely fun. It looks very serious about a time period and conflict that I'm not particularly interested in. Like, this movie's gonna come out and I'm gonna have to watch it because of y'all, and I'm gonna have an opinion about it. And I'm already upset that, like, I'm gonna lose. How long is this shit gonna be? 3 hours or some shit? This movie supposed to be long as hell.
They're long.
Probably.
His movies
Dude,
are
Probably
long.
it's going to be 3 hours.
If you're gonna sit me down for 3 hours, I need colors and explosions and not like a historical bomb
It's
explosion.
definitely gonna have-
I want a cheesy Hollywood explosion with the fire that's not realistic. Like, I want that shit. That's what I'm paying for. And I am sad.
Jerry Bruckheimer.
Yes, I'm sad that I'm gonna have to like talk to y'all about this movie that I know just by design I'm not interested in.
Hey,
To be
we
clear,
got you to see
none
Guardians
of this
and
is
you like
bad.
Guardians.
Yeah, but even if I don't like Guardians, I knew I wasn't gonna be bored. Like this shit I don't like about Guardians, but it was never boring. But I think I'm gonna be in this movie.
All right, my
yawning.
movie for this is the exact opposite. It's Barbie.
I want to see Barbie so bad.
I actually think
I
Barbie's going to be good.
I do not understand why they're trying to make this happen. I don't understand why it's in my timeline already. It doesn't come out to the end of summer. Like, this movie doesn't need to be made. No one needs
This
this
is
movie.
gonna
I
be
don't want
god
this
tier
movie.
satire, Wes. You can just tell that it's
gonna
meant to
be
be pure
awful.
satire, and that alone, because just the imagery and language.
But it's not worth satiring.
See, I think
This is not a
I
topic.
mean, think
worth
about the
satiring.
language around Barbie
It
as a
definitely
series,
is,
right?
though.
Like, people would talk about, the beauty images stuff and the lack of representation. There's a lot of, like, baggage around Barbie, the language around Barbie over the years that has legit impacted even how they do their branding in toys, right?
But then they should have made this movie 20 years ago when people actually bought Barbies. No one buys that shit anymore.
Maybe, but like we also talking about we also talking about Mission Impossible. Like, people make movies about stuff that been came by and has already happened. That's not new. I just think the casting of people who are going to be in it already, like Ryan Gosling and who else is in it?
I don't care for him ever.
What's that?
Margot Robbie plays Barbie.
Yeah, Margot Robbie. I know Issa Rae is in it. Michael Cera is in it. The casting alone leans into like, what is it? Shima Liu? Am I saying his name wrong?
Yeah.
Oh,
Shang-Chi's in it.
Yeah, he's gonna. I know his name. I
He's just Shang-Chi now.
I just don't want to
Yeah.
pronounce it well. But point is, the casting alone makes me think, this is gonna be a movie that's gonna go for more funny comedic stuff. And I think just making fun of the Barbie stuff alone is gonna be like, okay, the ceiling of fun stuff is really high.
That's funny. I didn't realize till you just said it. I have a visceral reaction that I don't like seeing movies with Ryan Gosling in it. And not because I think he's hot. I think he's just like he's not a compelling actor.
Wait, so you're saying you think he's hot, but he's not compelling?
Yeah, he is hot, but well, I don't know. Everyone who likes him says he's hot. I don't find him particularly attractive or not attractive, but his movies are always very much like he just plays a stoic guy with no emotions, and it's just, I mean, like that works in some places, but you can't do that as all of your roles. Like it's just boring as fuck. So
Barbie's gonna have some silly
like
people doing some silly out of pocket stuff, and that alone is gonna be.
Well, I hope he gets to show more emotion because he shows no emotion ever.
And it's also a movie made by Greta Gerwig, who's actually a very like serious director. Like she made Lady Bird, which was fantastic, and she made Little Women.
I like her.
So I think Barbie's going to be pretty smart.
Okay. All right.
Very
maybe you've given me a little window of pocket where I might like check it out or at least watch it.
If the premise don't interest you, don't watch it. But I'm just saying.
Well, I don't know any of the premise. I'm just like I mean, it just seems stupid, and Ryan Gosling is in it. So then I was like, man, all right. All right, let's keep going. What else is catching your eye? For me, it was Transformers Beast Wars. I grew up, we kind of watched that G1 era Transformers as little kids. And then we're later in elementary school or maybe middle school, Beast Wars came out, which is where all of the Transformers are now in animals. I think Prime was a gorilla, and there were some other things. And the animation wasn't particularly good. It was clearly just an excuse to like try out 3D animation on a kids show. So I don't have any fond feelings about it, but seeing the Beast Wars Transformers on screen in the trailers and stuff, I'm like, oh, that could be kind of cool. Like at least you can kind of tell what shape they are, right? They're not just like metal
polygons,
shaped
metal
everywhere.
polygons,
yeah.
Shit.
And I think it could be kind of cool to see like these different groups come together. And I'm just a sucker for Transformers movies. I've loved most of them or liked most of them, even the ones that were bad. I still enjoyed them. I'm not gonna lie. And then Bumblebee was actually really good. So that one caught my eye. It's like, I'd check that out.
I want to enjoy them. I wish I could. I'm with you, Wes. I used to love the Michael Bay Transformers movies. They lost me when they had those racist ass robots who were just like black caricatures. And then you had Mark Wahlberg's the dude doing the whole Romeo and Juliet dating thing, and I was like, what the hell has this series become? I want to enjoy it. I feel like this is just going to be I'll watch the fight scenes on YouTube years later and be like, all right, I got to see the cool parts of this movie.
All right, yeah, fight scenes are always good in Transformers movies.
I'll give them that.
Even though people say you can't tell what's going on.
I mean,
I still think
it's been hit or miss.
It's this giant mechs fighting in the middle of the city. It can't not be cool. Brian, you got one? Something that's catching your eye?
So
I already talked about Elemental because I do want to see that one too.
One of the ones that I have to admit that I'm actually interested in seeing is the Flash movie.
I was waiting. Me too, bro.
Just like, I mean, I didn't think I would.
I do want to see it.
I'm not into the Flash CW or any of that. Nope. I haven't seen Justice League still.
Nope. You didn't see Justice League? We did a whole pod on it.
Yeah, I don't do my homework. Come on.
That shit looks awful. I haven't seen that movie either, and I love the Flash.
But the Flash trailer, however, I mean, they're definitely like cramming it down my face these days, but it's a good trailer. And I mean, you got all the different Batmans, you have Supergirl in there, and it all seems to like it based on the trailer at least, it seems like they fit well together. Like they're doing something that's entertaining, comedic, but also has an emotional thrust to it. Much in the same way that Spider-Man already did. But it seems like they're kind of like taking that playbook and slapping it on here. But it looks like it could work. So I'm kind of excited to see that. Definitely not Blue Beetle though.
Heart echo. I'm the jury for me is still out on Blue Beetle. I just don't know how I want to feel about it yet. Maybe I need to see Flash to give it some context if they're going to be connected to one another. But I'm with you, dog. Flash movie looks awesome. I've always been a character of the Flash. I always liked the Flash character. Never got into the shows. Don't like any of the DC movie stuff because I don't really like those movies in general. But when I saw that first Flash trailer, I instantly was like, yo, I want to see this movie. Different versions of Flash, doing the really like time dimension break shit with his powers to really do some fun storytelling. This, Ezra Miller might be awful and might be a terrible person, but this movie looks like it will be genuinely entertaining. Even if it's not a good movie, I feel like I'm not going to go and be bored.
Who's the Supergirl character? It's not Kara, is it?
I think it is.
It wasn't clear.
They do different origins sometimes how they do the Supergirl character, but I think it is Kara.
All right. I don't know. It looks okay. I feel like I'm a little bit skeptical that they're gonna have Michael Keaton actually be a good Batman again. It could work, and then Ezra Miller having to talk to his other self, Ezra Miller. Like, I get that that's like how the Flashpoint stuff is gonna work, but it's yeah, it could be a little bit awkward. I do think the trailers are really good.
Such a weird thing to fixate on.
I don't know.
A character
I'm not
talking
sure.
to another version. Like, the movie's been doing that forever.
Are they gonna bring back Christian Bale's Batman? Do we know?
I mean, there's probably some stuff about the movie we don't know yet.
Probably.
Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
they keep this kind of
But
stuff
I do
under
like
wraps.
seeing Michael Keaton.
I like seeing him as like that's kind of funny, but like he seems like he actually has kind of like a larger role based on the trailers.
I mean, if they,
I don't know, we'll see.
if you bring in a different version of Batman, you got to bring in. You can't like have the brooding serious without the campy OG Batman. Like, that would be disrespectful to doing different versions of him. So, we'll see.
I don't know.
I mean,
You don't have to go. You could make a totally new version of Batman.
no, I don't want to see that shit.
Like Flash has different versions, right? Like you have Golden Age Flash and the guy with like the saucer helmet Flash.
I just know. I don't know. I just think Flash has always been a more like a character with a lot of levity, so I could see them being able to fit in. Brian, to your point about the comedy piece, I think a campy Batman could fit into the tone of a Flash movie really well. Maybe not other. Like, I wouldn't put that in like a Justice League movie. God no. But like, this movie feels like, I don't know. It looks interesting. It looks good. Straight up, I don't know how else to put it. It looks like it's gonna be entertaining.
We'll see. I'm gonna go see it.
Yeah.
I'm definitely gonna go. I'm gonna give them at least another couple of movies. All right. This is the Babe Ruth Award. Oh, Brian, did you have one? Sorry. Is there anything else catching your eye? That was it.
I'm going
The
to
Flash.
save it for the Babe Ruth Award.
Okay, the Babe Ruth Award. Here we go. This is the Collier shot. So last year, I was really psyched. We did a preview show, and I was really psyched to see Top Gun for exactly the reasons that people ended up liking it. It was just kind of a high-octane movie, no real story needed, but you were going to get just great action pieces, decent amount of, acting and relationships and whatever, and it was just going to be a fun ride. And I think they did that. They pulled it off successfully, and people seemed to vibe with it. People really connected, I think, with that movie, and it was a great reason to go to the movies and see a movie on a giant-ass 50-foot screen rather than seeing it on your 5-foot TV at home. Is there any bold predictions you have for the summer? It doesn't have to be that like one movie's going to be a hit. Are you just do you have any bold prediction for the summer slate of movies and shows? Savon, put your Nostradamus hat on. Tell us what is coming.
I don't know, man. I think most people's opinions is dumb as shit. So, like,
All right,
So
just
are you
reject the
including
premise
yours
of the
in that?
question.
no, I'm just saying. I feel like
You're on a podcast where you give your opinion.
I know. I just think most people, straight up, I think that Ninja Turtle movie gonna be good.
The character design
It
looks
was
a little weird.
surprisingly good.
So here's the thing about Ninja Turtles that people kind of been sleeping on. In recent years, and when I say recent, I'm willing to go as far as to say like the last, I'd say 20 years, modern-ish Ninja Turtle shows have been really good. I used to watch the Ninja Turtles show that was on Cartoon Network. It was a good show. They had long-running arcs, character development, like real heavy shit that happened. I remember there was an animated CGI Ninja Turtles movie a few years ago, or like maybe 10-ish years ago, that was also really good, and it talked about, the brothers' relationships, and Leonardo goes off, and there's a lot of, like, it's a heavy, real story, right? And then even some of the newer versions on Nickelodeon, they've leaned into, put it like this, I've seen writers actually do really good stuff with the Ninja Turtles brothers vibes and how they make them all work amongst each other, the dynamic, and I think it's actually gotten better over the years. It's not like the 80s one where they're just some kids getting hyped about pizza. They have way more interesting niche defined roles. Like, have y'all heard about that Last Ronin stuff where, there's like a Ninja Turtle storyline where Mikey's the last one and his brothers all die, but it's like a Logan type Ninja Turtle story, but with like a gruff
I've not heard
Mikey.
of the story.
Point is, they do really cool stuff with the characters. There's not really a lot of modern-ish Ninja Turtle, at least 21st century stuff that's just god awful. I think they're gonna do justice by this show. Like, I think Ninja Turtles has been an IP that
It's not going to be god awful.
no, I mean, what I really mean is that it's not gonna be bad, and it'll actually be like good. The animation looks
Alright.
cool, and again, I think they do a good job of balancing the brothers. Like, I've seen versions of Donatello the Smart One. I've even seen some shows where they do him where he's almost coded to be like almost like not picking up social cues, like all. I'm trying to figure out how to word
Yeah,
this.
yeah.
Like, they code him.
He's like on
they
autism
code him to
spectrum
be like
disorder.
almost on the
Yeah.
spectrum, but in a very interesting and like tasteful way of, okay, he's still an awesome dynamic member of the group who contributes. He just has this quirk about him. Oop, hit my mic. But you're getting hyped.
Excited.
But also, but they're really supportive of him too. And I have a lot of faith of how they actually adapt these characters. I think the movie will be good.
Bad Batch. Bad Batch.
It's
is
a
kinda
Bad
doing
Batch.
that
Yeah,
this
it's a Bad
season.
Batch vibe where they all have quirks and they still work great as like a brotherly team. Honestly, Bad Batch is low key Star Wars Ninja Turtles in a lot of ways, with just the roles, the
It kind of
angry
is,
strong
huh?
one, the well-rounded leader, the nerd, the heart. Like, come on now. I mean, these are all classic tropes, but I think the Ninja Turtle movie will be good. Like, I don't know if people are gonna be lining up around the theater, but it's gonna be quality Ninja Turtle content.
That might be the
Right,
She's All That of the summer movie list. For sure.
Brian, Bad Batch is an animated Star Wars show. It's on Disney Plus.
Oh.
I don't know if you've heard of it.
I probably won't watch
I mean, I'm not about to watch it either, but
All right, Brian. What's Oh well, no, but Tech, one of the clones in Bad Batch, he's starting to be coded as more on the spectrum. He's not picking up on social.
I mean, they kind of
cues
did that from the
like
beginning, though. Like, they always had him kind of
Yeah.
just not really be listening the same way, and they did it in a, that's like, quote unquote, that's his Bad Batch, quote unquote, like quirk thing, that makes him a little different.
Yeah, I mean, he's also just like really technical and like very whatever. We're not talking about Bad Batch right now. Brian, make your call.
So
Call it.
The word of mouth hit of the summer. The movie that like one weekend it does pretty well. People are talking about it, and then people are just gonna keep talking about, and like suddenly everybody's gonna be like, "Oh
Give us an
man, I
example
gotta
from the
see
past.
it." So
Everything
it's gonna
in-
be
yeah.
like almost an American Pie equivalent of the summer.
Okay.
I think is
Okay.
gonna be the Joyride movie. Oh, sorry.
Yeah?
No, not the Joyride movie.
not Joyride.
Excuse me. I was about to say J-Law, and then I said Joyride. The J's screwing me
We'll
up
do that
here.
again.
The J-Law movie, Jennifer Lawrence, in her first like straight up comedy, no hard feelings, is gonna be the talk of the summer, because this is like a hard R comedy, like, and sex comedy. Like, just think
That's
about
a different
the
hard R than I was thinking, but keep going.
just think about the wait, what would that hard R be?
No, don't worry about it, bro.
I don't even know.
No, I'm with you, man. It's cool. That was funny.
Anyway,
I was like, ooh, where are we going with this? Okay.
Continue, Brian.
it's
Rated
I mean,
R.
it's
Rated
called
R.
No Hard Feelings, and it's a sex comedy about Jayla being a down and out woman who, she needs money, so she gets hired by a couple of wealthy parents, one of whom is played by Matthew Broderick, to have sex with their like dorky shut-in 19-year-old son, who
Ooh, awkward.
who might be more into video games than the outside world. And so I think it's just gonna be a romp. There's gonna be a lot of sex jokes, obviously, and it's gonna be Jennifer Lawrence, doing her thing. Like she
She has comedic chops.
She
is
definitely
through
gives
the
me
roof,
funny energy.
magnetic, charming, and has like great comedic timing. And it's almost like about time we saw her in a movie like this, and it's also about time we get like a almost generation defining comedy. And I'm very hopeful that No Hard Feelings is that. And check out the trailer. I mean, it looks hilarious already. So
The last one was probably super bad.
yeah,
Which hasn't
exactly.
really aged super well, but yeah.
There's probably some stuff in
we're
between,
due
but
for
I'm
a good
with you,
comedy.
bro.
I think
I'm with you.
Hollywood has stopped making comedies, like, because they're not sure bets. But hopefully this one is going to be good. I think it's going to be good. The Nostradamus says in me that this is going to be a hit.
I'm skeptical.
I'm always a fan of when actors just try and do, or are known for like very different types of roles, go for something pure comedy. Like, I love when Zac Efron started doing really funny stuff. Like, what was he in the movie with Seth Rogen?
Baywatch.
Yeah, in Baywatch.
Neighbors.
My neighbor.
Yeah, Neighbors. Like, there's a lot of those, especially the young child actors who kind of end up doing serious stuff. A lot of them are funny as hell. So I do appreciate when people who aren't funny do show their comedic chops. I think it tends to work out more than it doesn't.
All right. I'm calling my shot. I have 2 shots to call, actually. I'm feeling myself because I was so successful last year. Okay. So the same sort of nostalgia, fun ride itch that Top Gun Maverick tapped into. I think White Men Can't Jump is going to fill the same need for this summer. It's an update to the old movie. It features Jack Harlow and somebody else. Who's the other guy? Let me see. We're just killing time, filling dead airspace. White Men
I haven't looked at the cast.
Jump.
What is that? Cinqua
You
Walls?
can type it in.
Cinqua Walls. What is he from?
WHITE Space.
Well, yeah, Jack Harlow and Cinqua Walls. I don't know if we're pronouncing it correctly. He's known for Nothing Big, Teen Wolf, Friday Night Lights. But I think this movie, it looks engaging. It looks funny. It looks like Jack Harlow is actually bringing quite a bit of personality to the role, which is great because, obviously Woody Harrelson brought a ton of charisma to that role, and a lot of, some character flaws to the movie that he was in. So this will be great. I think people who are our age or a little bit older are going to be like, oh, I remember that movie. That was fun. We had Wesley Snipes and Woody Harrelson kind of doing their thing and just kind of providing some like hilarious banter and getting themselves into basketball pickup game shenanigans. They're going to do the same here. It's going to be great. So that's one. I think that's going to get good word of mouth. I think the one thing holding it back, it's on streaming.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's hard to
The
stay.
one thing?
I think it's yeah, the one thing. It's hard to stay in the zeitgeist when you're on streaming because people move on so quickly. They kind of view it as throwaway or like, oh, I'll get to it whenever I get to it. But there isn't that feeling of, oh, I better see it this week. My friend told me it was good. It might be out of theaters in 2 or 3 weeks. I better go see it this weekend. It kind of snowballs there. When it's on streaming, you just feel like you could watch it whenever, and then you just end up not watching it. So that's one. You guys think that's a bad call? You guys don't look convinced on that one.
Very bad call.
I actually think the movie will be entertaining.
Lost me at Jack Harlow.
No, see, I was about to say, I think the movie's biggest weakness is that I think actually Jack Harlow would be a good version of the modern day white guy. Like, you can't, the movie took place, almost 40 years later, 30 years later from the original.
Yeah.
So, like, style and culture has changed. I actually think Jack Harlow would be the perfect white guy for a modern version of this. I think the problem is that people are going to just reject it because it's Jack Harlow like Brian did. And that alone will hold back the movie, even if I think he is the perfect guy for that. Like, he has that perfect vibe of white guy, but he's still been around black people before. But he still, like, has his white guy traits. Like, that works in the like, I could see him going to the court.
So. That's what the whole thing is about.
I can see his vibe of him going to the court and people saying, who does dude think he is? And then he really out here hustling, like smurfing, hustling folks for money. He could sell me as a guy who would do that type of thing, could get away with it. But
I mean, he's had to do that in his rap career too, right? I'm sure people underestimated him.
I mean,
so.
you
Would
know,
Little
in a black
Dicky have
space.
been a better
I think
casting choice?
Well, but you don't. Little Dicky's not believable as a basketball player.
But he's good. Have you seen him play? He's good.
No, really.
Look up videos.
See,
of Lil
got
Dicky.
like
Dicky.
Lil Dicky, I feel like will feel like the easy option casting wise. Like, I wouldn't want Dicky in
He's
that
too
role.
goofy.
Yeah, like it's a little bit of a Jack Harlow's
like
a
Woody
white.
Harrelson was.
Like, in the movie, Woody Harrelson was like a white guy, but he wasn't just like some dude who has clearly never been around minorities or black people before either. He wasn't giving that Lil Dicky energy of just like, whoa, where am I? What we do?
All right, I got one more, and this is a numerical call. So, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse collected $384 million at the box office when it came out a few years ago. I think Across the Spider-Verse, the sequel that's coming out this summer, I'm going to put a number on it. I'm going to say it's going to do at least 700.
Wow,
More
It
than
would be
double?
phenomenal
just saying shit.
for an animated film. It'd be double. I think it's going to get a bigger marketing budget, right? The first one maybe got more word of mouth budget, but I think this one's going to get more like actual marketing advertisement. Is going to be on YouTube TV. It's going to be on YouTube. You're going to see commercials for it. So I think they could bump this up to $700 million. Box office hit. It'll be in the top, 30 movies of all time in terms of revenue. So that's the call. I think it's going to be that successful. I think people are ready for this movie. I'm ready for this movie at least, and I'm, the everyman. So everybody's just has my exact taste. So that's what I think is going to happen.
Wes the Everyman. For sure.
I'm the center of the universe, guys. Didn't you know? All right, rapid fire. Here we go. So no explanations. You're just saying your thought real quick. Fast X. I don't actually know how they're marketing this movie. It doesn't matter. Fast this latest one, the last one, supposed to be the last one of the Fast and Furious movies. Are you looking back on this series with fondness or not really? Savon, how do you look back on the Fast and the Furious
Dude,
franchise?
I've seen like one Fast and Furious movie, and that's when it was still about racing because Ludacris was in it, and then it just became a parody of itself. For people who enjoy it, cool, but this is gonna be one of those franchises that, like, you know, when we talk about movie tropes 20, 30 years from now, all this has created so many of its own tropes. And we will be seeing parodies of, oh, they made 10 of these movies, like, and it was, you know, it has literally become a satire of itself where there's nothing to even make fun of because they've already done it.
It's
in
its
the
own
movies.
meme. Yeah.
And so it'll be fun to look
great.
back at this 10 years from now. It'll be people who enjoyed it, liked it, but also it'll be a, yo, this is what happens when just the money train just keeps on chugging along and they say, yeah.
I say I'm looking back on fondness. The first movie I loved. It gets worse and worse with every viewing. Like the first one, I was like, oh my God, this movie's so much fun. It's high octane fun. And then I watched it again and I was like, oh, this movie has some plot holes. And then I watched it again and I was like, oh, this movie has like a lot of plot holes. And like, I don't really get the, like, meh. And then you watch it again and you're like, where did they go from here to here? Like that doesn't even make sense, you know? So like, you don't have to watch the movie too many times, but I still watch it with fondness. I'm like, oh, that, like that Ricer, you know, days of high school and college.
You're talking about Rice Rockets?
Yeah, Rice Rockets.
That's a hard double R.
I enjoyed that era of car culture that was out there. I was never a part of it. I didn't have any money for that. I didn't know any friends who were into it. But Fast and the Furious 1 gets me, even though the rest of them I haven't really been paying attention to. All right, Tom Cruise. Oh, Brian, did you fondness or not? You out?
X's
okay.
on my eyes for Fast and Furious.
Great. All right, Tom Cruise, our main man, 61 years old this summer. I think in July he turned 61. Definitely in better shape than I am. This man is a marvel of human, performance. Still insists on doing many of his stunts, as we talked about. He's kind of a little bit crazy about them at this point. I'm sure he has to pay crazy insurance rates now because I don't think the studios are able to get him like regular insurance because they're like no insurance company is insuring the movie that the main
They've
stunt
pushed
is,
the
like,
boundaries of how insurance
jumping
works.
out of a plane. Yeah, I think he's basically just having to pay the studio his own money ahead of time so that he can make the movies, and if he dies, they just take all his money. So at what age? You know, this is kind of a LeBron question too. Although I think we're seeing LeBron kind of succumb to father time right now. At what age will Father Time finally lay down the hammer and force him to stop doing his own stunts? When is walking out the front door going to actually be a stunt for him? I'm going to guess 72. This man is going to go until he's 72 doing actions. Michael Caine was an action star for a long time, and that man is not nearly in as good a shape.
I think it's going to be 5 years from now, and only because a helicopter blade chops off his legs during a stunt. And then he's going to lay it down.
Yeah, I think he's going to have a career-ending injury. Like, that man has too much money to have people just tell you. Clearly, he has too much money for no to be an answer about if you want to do some shit. Let's just be very clear. If this man they basically have to invent new types of insurance for him. You know, that alone should say where he's at with it. So, this is the guy who doesn't retire out gracefully. This is the guy who has to physically not be able to do it because of some actions beyond his control. And it's like, oh, well, I physically can't, so I won't.
That's fair enough. I think that's probably the right answer. Although we don't necessarily want him to get injured.
Oh, I never said one, but I'm not the one jumping out of planes. I'm not the one trying to do this shit. For the record, if I was Tom Cruise, we CGIing all that. You could use me for some reference points. We could build a smaller mini section of a thing on the ground, and I could do some angles. But
no. Do the big fans, get the hair blown.
I'm not playing on hard mode just for fun. So that's on him.
You're not Elden Ringing it. All right. This is more of a rhetorical question because I don't get it. Disney acquired Fox a long time ago, which means they got the rights to a certain mutant character set. They got the X-Men. They can do a movie about it. When are we going to get an actual X-Men movie? Like, it's time. Put an actual X-Men movie out there. I don't think they've announced an actual X-Men movie. They've got to make one. That's all. That's not really a question. Brian, do you agree? I guess is what I'm saying.
They're gonna do it after Fantastic Four.
You just gotta wait.
So a long time from now.
You just gotta wait.
When is Fantastic Four?
Nah,
Have they called that one yet?
a while from now.
Sort of. Fantastic Four
okay.
is gonna come before Secret Wars, I believe. So I think
We might not be alive in 5 years.
I think
The
we
world might
don't
be on
get
fire
the
in 5
X-Men
years.
movie until after Secret Wars, and I think that's when they get introduced.
All right,
my
fine,
prediction.
fair enough. Okay, Savon, you got a prediction?
What about what?
Never mind.
X-Men. We're gonna get them. Just gotta wait. Look, if they rush.
I don't wanna wait.
They rush it out. People gonna be mad. Oh, they just wanted to rush it out. They did that with Fantastic Four, and everybody was mad with that last Fantastic Four movie. That was awful. You know, just because you got it, don't mean you need to immediately do it. You gotta do it right. So,
This is true.
Be patient.
They got it.
Otherwise, we making a pod X years from now, and you talking about how they rushed out X-Men and they should have let it cook in the kitchen a little bit longer. We're not going to do that.
Well, I want it now, and I want it good. I think those are reasonable asks.
All right.
How did Oscar Isaac not make it into a big blockbuster hit this summer? What are we going to do with ourselves with an Oscar Isaac-less summer?
all right.
I don't understand.
He's starring in a play in New York right now. I think that's why.
Fair enough. Okay, this is your chance to call it now. I think you guys previewed it. Is The Flash going to be a smash hit, or is it going to be trash? Did I just rhyme 3 different words? I did. I think it's going to be trash.
I think it's going to be a mash.
I hope it's not.
Up of good and bad. I think it's going to
Okay.
be pretty good, but
Alright.
it's going to be a hit.
I'm hoping.
People are going to watch this movie and have a good time.
Okay. There are also some fun shows on the calendar this summer. We're going to get Ahsoka Secret Wars. Nope, I lied. Secret Invasion. And we're going to get Loki Season 2 this summer. Are you thrilled about any of those? Which one would you be keyed in on first? I'm going Ahsoka.
I'm definitely into Loki Season 2, now, especially now that it stars Academy Award-winning Ke-Huy Quan.
Oh, he's going to be in it?
Yeah, he's in it.
Oh, nice. Academy Award winner. Sav, which of those 3?
For all of them. I mean, no, Secret Invasion. I'm just more Secret Invasion. The plots. I mean,
Right. I don't know anything about that.
I mean,
comic
I
book
don't care
timeline.
about Loki. Ahsoka will be cool, but I'm actively more interested in Secret Invasion and what they do with it.
All right. We went to the theater to see Guardians of the Galaxy, and me and my wife were talking about, like, should we get popcorn? Oh, it's like $8 or $9. It's kind of expensive. Like, should we get nachos? Like, they're not the best. What is your go-to theater snack? Or are you anti-theater snacks because of the cost? Or the taste, I guess. Sav, what's your go-to?
More often than not, I'm not buying snacks. I'm probably just bringing my own shit. Like, I'll probably just, I usually just stop at a convenience store nearby and just get some candy or some, like, Muddy Buddy Chex or something like that. And then now you...
A what?
Chex.
Say it again?
Muddy
Chex.
Buddy Chex. What are you
Chex,
talking about?
it's like the Chex can, but it's like this, they got the powdered sugar and it's like chocolate and peanut butter. It's good stuff. Point is...
Is that a real thing? Or do
The
you combine
cereal.
this yourself?
No,
You're talking
no,
about
it's
the
a real
cereal,
thing. It's
right?
like a snack.
It's a
like
cereal?
No, it does, but it's an actual, like, snack you can just buy. Like at gas
I've
stations.
never heard of this.
Yeah, look it up.
I know what Chex is.
Yeah.
I've never heard of Muddy Buddy
Yeah.
Chex.
Point
I'll
is,
have to look
I
this up.
get whatever little snacks I like and then just put it in my pockets and I just bring that to the theater. Sometimes I'll buy Twizzlers.
Is it
but
because of cost or is it because of taste?
both?
Okay.
I have been...
Rejects the premise of the question again. Thanks a
I'm
lot.
I
not
have been
rejecting the
so
premise.
cheap.
It's just like $5. Like, I might buy some Twizzlers if I can't find Twizzlers on the way to the theater. I'll buy some Twizzlers, but other than that shit expensive. That's taxing.
It is expensive.
I
Brian,
have
go-to
been
snack.
so cheap and so hungry, like going to the movies, because before I used to like go to the movies after work and stuff like that, or like in New York you're doing a billion things and you're like, okay, now I'm gonna go see a movie, but I forgot I haven't
Humble
eaten
brag.
anything, so I have done the thing where I go to like one of these super delis in New York where they have a hot food bar. And like you can like put all this stuff in your styrofoam platter,
Yeah.
and I have snuck that thing into the movie. So I'm the guy that opens up the styrofoam box and like suddenly the whole theater smells like chicken teriyaki. Like,
This dude.
I used to sneak whole Chipotle burritos
ridiculous.
into the
Oh,
theater.
burritos are a good one because you could put a
Yeah.
burrito in a pocket.
I
Yeah,
eat before I go
that'd
to
be
the
a good one.
movies. Like nowadays, I go matinee in the morning, so I'll just eat breakfast while I'm getting ready to go to the theater, and then I'll go be full off breakfast, and then I'll maybe
That's
and
the real
maybe
adult move
I'll
right
get a
there.
snack, just to have something to like munch on. But like what? Yeah, geez.
I also love the idea of a morning movie. Like they,
Come
go
on.
about your day,
Dude,
right? Like,
you get up.
Austin doesn't really do morning movies. I think the earliest one is usually like 11:30.
Oh man, now they got the 10 a.m. showings, boy. Come on, you get up at 8. You have your nice little breakfast.
Yeah,
get
Austin-
set. Go
Austin's
out
lame
to the
about that.
theater. You done by 1ish, noonish. I hate getting out the theater in just like the evening, especially these long
really?
ass movies. Nah,
It always throws me off if I come out the theater and it's bright outside. I'm like, wow.
no, that's great. I'm like, yes, I have so much day
I've
left.
never used my eyes before.
Yeah. All right, my go-to snack, ices. It's one of the few places you can get ices
Do you
regularly.
leave to go pee during movies? Or are you that guy fidgeting like a child because you have small bladder? I feel like you ain't got a strong bladder capacity, Wes.
I do have a strong bladder capacity, I feel like. I mean, oftentimes at work, I go pee before I leave for work at 7, and then I forget that I have to pee, and then I don't pee until I come home at 6 or
Okay, so you got good bladder capacity. Come on, I take back what I said.
I can hold it, but I have
Big boy
had
West.
to leave a number of movies in the middle, and there's a whole like conversation I have in my head, like, do I go during the action scene because I know the story's not really being developed, or do I go during like a more slower part where like I'm not gonna miss the action stuff? I have that debate in my head. Usually I choose to go like right at the end of an action scene. If I have to go.
I haven't had to.
then I
I haven't
run.
had to do that in a movie for years, like decades even. And if I ever
The
have to
movie
do that,
theater
I failed
drinks
myself.
are the size of my head, which means they're like 4 times.
Why
the
y'all
size
drinking
of
stuff
my
at the
bladder.
theater? That's why I
You
don't
don't
get
have
drinks.
to drink all of it.
Yeah. Also,
Yeah.
if I do get a drink, it's like, all right, I'm just gonna have to.
Do I
thug it
have
out.
self-control, Brian? Come on. It's sugar and it's delicious. I'm not gonna.
This
just,
man
like,
wants
sip
his
it.
X-Men movie.
I can never get up to piss during the movie I paid for, unless it's just awful or I'm there and I legitimately don't want to be there. But usually, I'm not just going to a movie I don't want to be at. Although Oppenheimer will be the first in a while.
Let's wrap it up there, friends. I have no idea if this recording is gonna go well. I got kicked out at some point, so we'll see. Hopefully, it's great. Friends, we're out. We'll see you in a little while. Bye.
Bye-bye.